just yelled at the dog. Now I'm pretty sure I'm going to lose my voice because he's an annoying thing. Okay, so what I love about creating content on this YouTube channel is my ability to, and let's not talk about my crazy hairstyle today, is the fact that I can be so specific in what I wanted to talk about and I can just focus on the topic at hand. So what I we really wanted to get into in the next little while on here is talking about relating and relationships. And I am hoping to blow your mind in terms of what's possible. Like, where are we with our relationships? Where are we? What are we aiming for? What's reasonable? Why don't we have good relationships? Like, all these questions and more. And I'm going to share from my perspective, and I'm possibly going to answer some questions from people. So, if you have questions, reach out. Because for me, like, this space was a pretty new space in terms of um, like, where do I show up in this? So I was always this person that had been like, we've all heard it. It's like when we break up with guy number 1,300. Well, no, I mean, I don't know. Maybe someone's been out with 1,000 guys. I haven't, but I feel like it, right? I feel like, again, I've had this like another relationship which didn't work out. And we've all had that moment where we're like, okay, is this me? Now, in the past, I would have got all down on myself and been like, yeah, because, like, you're not thin, you're not beautiful, you're not smart enough, you can be a bit mean, maybe you'd like throw tantrums. I don't know, but I would have found you're not successful enough. What else would I had a number of reasons. So many. And then what I realized amongst all of that, right, in all of that was, yeah, it is me. Absolutely. Because it's the space I'm playing from, right? Amazing. The space I'm playing from. So, there's this whole concept around we as adults emerge into adulthood and we form connections from the space of our biggest wound. What do you mean? What do you mean I attract these men to me that aren't available or don't really want to love me when all I want is to be loved? This used to be me. All I want is for someone to love me. All I want is to be loved. But I couldn't love myself. And even though I'd be like, why can't he just love me? It was like I was expecting someone to love me when I couldn't love myself. And like, I don't know, how does that even work? Like, how does it even work? So I had like standards. The standards I held, the space I was in, how available I was, all were like, oh God. And then to top it off, it'd be like, I'm not attracted to men who aren't like that. And by like that, I mean like largely unavailable. And even when I'd be like these, guys would be like, I love you within the first month. And I think, yes, I love you too. You fulfill me. Bump, 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 bow. No. And there is the sad tale of most of Natalie's relationships. I couldn't love myself. I couldn't even like myself most of the time. I honestly thought I knew what I wanted. And I honestly thought that I was like, oh, I know myself. I've done some therapy. I've acknowledged where I am. I've made my peace with all this. And then I realized, that there was this huge reparenting piece I had to do. I really had to look into that. I would say to people, even in the extensive therapy I'd done, oh, yeah, that whole family thing, let's not open up Pandora's box. Okay, sure, because that would have nothing to do with this. Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did. So then when I eventually accepted that there was this whole reparenting piece to do, where I just and I think we get quite scared of what that looks like. And for me, it was like, actually, no, that's not scary at all. It's not scary at all. I'm just looking at the microphone. It's nice, isn't it? My new stand. I'm hoping it's far enough away from me and it's recording properly, because I'll be pissed if I've recorded this and it doesn't work. Anyway, I digress. This reparenting thing, I think we get so scared of what might come up. And yeah, journey. It's been a year. It's been a big year and an amazing year on so many levels, but also a confronting year on so many levels, which also gets to be good, right? However, on through the valley of the reparenting and really acknowledging some stuff that was events in my childhood, still unpicking some of that, all good. I am now like, oh wow, oof, it's a new dawn in the relating space, and it's really time to acknowledge where I come from. Like, I was hypo independent, and the flip side of that is quite codependent. And so I really, and by codependency, I mean, like, if you are not telling me all the time how much you love me and validating my worth, then I am questioning this relationship every second I have. My anxiety, or my anxiousness, and my level of anxiousness, even in like the start of a relationship where I was like, I love him. He's like magnetized. He's amazing. He texts me all the time. He gets me. We finish each other's sentences. The sex is phenomenal. We're so connected. We're like, we sit up all night, like listening to music and outdoing each other on gin cocktails and talking and laughing and, sharing all the secrets of our worlds. Yeah. There's a lot to keep up with just in that. It's like these highly codependent spaces. So if my partners or partner, maybe let's just take the last one, because that was the point at which I went, oh, something is really got to give here. If I didn't hear from them, like sent a text, I didn't hear back from them, but they don't love me anymore. That was how fragile my model of love was. It was highly unreliable, highly fragile, and not sustainable. So it's like constantly pouring into this cup, and the relationship cup. Because here's the other thing, like when we say, oh, he completes me, that's bullshit. That's highly codependent. Oh, and avoidant. And we really like, the moment where we think we need someone else to complete us, we're probably inviting in a narcissist, hurts my head thinking about it. So when we say he completes me, it's like, nah, 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 nah. Now I see relationships as like this thing where it's something outside of the two people in it. And so the relationship is like an entity of itself. And then we contribute to that entity to create this thing. It's its own living organism. So we serve the relationship, and our needs are met in that relationship. Also, we have very good communication. And I also think too, the thing that none of us want to acknowledge in the space of relating is that when issues come up, right? So even in this, again, I would say in my last relationship, when issues come up, it was like, that so wasn't a him thing. I mean, yes, so many red flags there, but red flags, what's that? That is a pretty thing that waves around in the breeze, like those Tibetan, the Nepalese prefects. Hey, it's just something nice to look at. Oh, you mean I'm supposed to pay attention to them? Oh, no. But I like him. And I don't like many people. Listen, at least it's only taken me 3 years to get to the point where I'm like, okay, I can kind of make some jokes about this now. It was a long 3 years up until this point. So, we don't want to acknowledge that when we have an issue in the relationship, it's that relationship becomes almost like a reflection of us. Well, it is a reflection of us. And so then the relationship is reflecting back at us the things that remain unresolved within us. Is the penny dropping yet? So when we're like, oh, but he does, maybe he does. And there are some massive things that I'm not going to say. I'm going to carve out massive red flags and warnings and any sort of emotional or physical abuse, right? Let's carve that out. Because I'm going to say, you know, you can stay in a physically abusive relationship. Like if that is your choice from a healed perspective. However, I would question if we are, I'm not talking to women who are struggling to find the support to leave. I get it. But if you are suggesting that you are staying in your abusive relationship from a healed and whole space, I would question still what covert need is being fulfilled for you by staying in that relationship. Because, you know, our relationships are probably the first and last space where our self-perception, so our perception of our worth, is reflected. And when we're in spaces where our worth is not being honored and cherished, then my question is like, okay, well, you know, what is it in this that you're okay with? Because, you know, every behavior meets a need. So what need are you having met here? Relationships aren't this space of nirvana. They're so much cooler than that. They're like this space where we really get to explore what it is to love ourselves so deeply that we can let someone else into our world that completely upsets our equilibrium and flow. And by upsets, I don't mean like constrains or expands. I just mean it upsets. It changes the flow of our life. If we are the river and then we introduce someone else to that, it changes the way that flows. You know, hopefully it's not the damn wall built by the beavers. Hopefully it's more like, oh, wow, look, this managed to open up, expand, and widen our riverbanks. And, you know, look at the journey we're on now, hopefully. They are such a space for such rapid learning if we are open to it. And it is the frontier where we think, I've recently started dating again. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I've been in the work for 3 years. You know, I've been doing the work. I've been in the personal development work. I've been in the shamanic space. I've been in the embodiment space. I'm like in the somatic space. I'm like the body and the mind, the physiology of Natalie is like, oh, we are in the work. And then you start dating. Holy shit. Well, hello. Hello. Oh my God, here comes all the issues running back in. Ah! Like, you know, little placard carrying issues being like, you didn't tell us we were doing this. And we're back because we don't understand what's happening here. We're back, we're back, we're back, we're back. Help us here. Yep. All comes flooding back. All comes flooding back. It's quite interesting, isn't it? So, I'm wondering if that's going to come. Relationships will be the last frontier. The last frontier for any of your shit. It will bring it up. And so you can dodge it and you can blame and you can project it onto someone else. Or you can be like, oh, okay, here's a massive invitation for me to dive into what is here for me. What is here for me? It's beautiful. And in a healthy relationship, we have this ability to be like to our partner, hey, I got this thing coming up. It's coming up and it needs to be addressed. Do you think you could hold some space for me or hold the space for me or a space for me while I like get into this? Could you? This is a me thing, but I would really appreciate your support in this me thing. Could you? Would you? And here's the thing, a loving partner will be like, yeah, sure. Up for this. Up for this. But that's, you know, my take on relationships is like, and I'm going to run a little series here, but that was like drop one. So just want to make these short and sharp and sweet. Drop one is like most of us have a pretty fucked up view of what we think a healthy relationship is. And so my takeaway points from today are where you think, if you think that a relationship is going to complete you, or a partner's responsibility is to complete you, i.e., make you happy, make you feel fulfilled, then that is something you may want to journey and explore. Your job is to create your own sense of fulfillment and happiness. That's your job. And we create that with the people and spaces and places we occupy and allow in to our field. But that's another that's another episode coming on other stuff. So a relationship is a space where we do not expect our partners to complete or fulfill us. 2, that a relationship is a separate entity to the two people involved in it, that we create this entity and that we contribute to the entity as two people. It's beautiful. Our needs are met in the space of the relationship, not by the other person stepping into us and assuming responsibility for our needs, wants, desires, and fulfillment. Doesn't work like that. See point 1. 3, relationships are a fantastic landscape to flush out any and all of our shit. And it is generally our shit. It is generally not our partners. I've carved out the bit about physical and emotional abuse, right? But it's generally our shit. And a healthy relationship will be a space in which you can say to your partner, hey, I've got this thing going on. Or even if it's something your partner does and you're triggered by, hey, when you do this thing, I really get upset. My response to that is that I feel scared, afraid, angry, lost, alone, abandoned, whatever it is. I would really love it if you could help me work through this. Or I've got this thing coming up. I know it's about being intimate. I know it's about the space of our relationship, but I need to explore it and really flush it out. Can you hold this space for me while I do that? I would love you to support me through this. A healthy relationship facilitates that type of growth. I can't remember which, was I up to 4? Maybe I'm on 5. Lost my fingers when I was using hand actions. My final point is that when we are in the space of relating, we are looking for someone who is going to contribute to. We're not looking for someone who's going to take away from us. That's not healthy. And maybe we want to sit in that space because we're serving like our codependency, or we're serving our need for security, or we're serving our scarcity mindset where we think, shit, this guy is all there is, so I'm going to go here. This is going to be my man. They are a space for growth and expansion. Choose a partner that will grow with you, is willing to grow with you. That doesn't mean it happens in the same time. It doesn't mean that one isn't stepping up and dragging the other with them, enticing, inviting the other with them. Yeah, that all gets to be part of it. But have the basic premise that you will grow together. And my final point is, remember, relationships get to be like these amazing spaces of where we truly tune in to the response to life and love. And when we settle, we are buying into a dogma and a script that says, yeah, life only gets to be this good. It doesn't. Well, in my world, it doesn't. Life gets to be fucking magical. I believe it, so I'm going to create it. Love gets to be magical. Our relationships get to be a thing where we're like excited and enlivened in that space, and we can talk to our partner. I do not understand this dynamic where we are in this old paradigm dynamic of like, Oh, well, and with this person, I don't really love them, but we have kids and we've got a shitload of responsibility. And like, fuck, my life is so weighed down right now. I don't know what happiness or fulfillment is. I don't get that. I don't live in that house, and you're probably not going to get relationship advice that you can vibe with if you live in that house. Also, I'm here for you. Here's the paradox, right? Also, I'm here for you if you are in that space and you're looking to make some change. I'm your gal. Love gets to be magical. You are magical. Thank you for joining me. See you on the next round.